Imagine a man named Arthur, a vibrant 94-year-old, whose eyes sparkled with the energy of someone decades younger. He'd often share his secret to a life brimming with vitality, a life he credited to his unwavering focus on what he affectionately called his lifeline foods. Arthur wasn't interested in fleeting trends or miracle cures. Instead, he embraced a simple, consistent approach, centered on 7 categories of foods that nourished his body at a cellular level. He believed these foods weren't just meals, but powerful allies in his journey towards a fulfilling, active life, a journey he wanted to share with you. He'd say, it's not about chasing youth. It's about giving your body the tools it needs to thrive, no matter the age. And that's the health wisdom we're here to share today. Arthur's mornings were a celebration of berries, a vibrant medley of blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries. He'd hold a handful up to the light, marveling at their jewel-like colors. They're like tiny bursts of sunshine, packed with antioxidants that keep my cells happy, he'd declare, his voice filled with childlike wonder. He saw these berries as more than just a sweet treat. They were his cellular guardians, little warriors combating the daily onslaught of free radicals and oxidative stress. He described the feeling after his morning berry smoothie as a gentle, invigorating awakening, a surge of vitality that permeated every cell. You could almost feel the energy tingling, he'd say, a soft chuckle escaping his lips, like a gentle wake-up call for your whole body. It wasn't just about taste, it was about the tangible sense of rejuvenation, a feeling of cellular renewal. Twice a week, his kitchen would fill with the savory aroma of pan-seared salmon. A bit of salmon, he'd advise, his eyes twinkling. It's like giving your body a smooth, well-oiled engine. He spoke of omega-3 fatty acids with a reverence, explaining how they fortified cellular membranes, keeping them flexible and strong, and how they quelled the fires of inflammation. He'd carefully squeeze lemon over the sizzling salmon, the citrus scent mingling with the herbaceous aroma of fresh dill and parsley. Each bite was a moment of mindful nourishment, a conscious act of self-care. It's about respecting your body with real, whole foods, he'd reiterate, his voice warm and sincere. And when salmon wasn't on the menu, he'd ensure he got his omega-3s by sprinkling flax seeds or chia seeds onto his oatmeal or salads, a simple act of consistent care. His love for cruciferous vegetables, especially broccoli and kale, was almost poetic. A good helping of greens, he'd say, his voice imbued with a sense of quiet satisfaction. It's like giving your body a gentle detox. He'd steam broccoli florets until they were tender crisp, the bright green deepening as they released their earthy aroma, then toss them with garlic and a drizzle of olive oil. Kale, he'd saute with onions until they were wilted and sweet, adding a dash of red pepper flakes for a subtle kick. He'd describe the feeling after a meal rich in these greens as a cleansing, a sense of lightness and clarity. It's about giving your body the tools to cleanse and renew, he'd emphasize, his voice filled with reverence for the body's natural processes. Dark chocolate, in moderation, was his cherished indulgence. A small piece of dark chocolate, he'd say, holding up a square of rich, dark goodness. It's like a little hug for your heart. He'd explain the magic of polyphenols, their antioxidant properties, and how they supported cardiovascular health. He'd often melt a square and drizzle it over his berries, creating a decadent yet healthy dessert, the bitterness of the chocolate complementing the sweetness of the berries. It's about finding joy in the simple things, he'd say, a gentle smile gracing his lips, and knowing that even a little indulgence can be good for you. Mushrooms, he'd declare, were gifts from the earth. Mushrooms, he'd say, his voice filled with awe. They're like little sponges, soaking up goodness from the earth. He'd saute them with garlic and herbs, the earthy aroma filling his kitchen, adding them to soups, stews, or omelets. He'd describe the feeling after a meal rich in mushrooms as a grounded, steady energy, a sense of connection to the natural world. It's about connecting with nature's bounty, he'd say, his voice imbued with a deep respect for the earth's gifts. Goji berries were his secret weapon for preserving his vision. A handful of goji berries, he'd say, holding them up like precious jewels, it's like giving your eyes a little shield. He'd explain the protective power of lutein and zeaxanthin, how they guarded the delicate tissues of the eyes. He'd add them to his trail mix, their chewy texture and subtle sweetness, adding a delightful contrast to the nuts and seeds, or sprinkle them over his yogurt, their vibrant red color, adding a touch of visual appeal. He'd share stories of his sharp eyesight, a testament to the power of these little berries. It's about taking care of your senses, he'd say, his voice filled with gratitude, so you can enjoy every moment. And finally, red bell peppers were his daily dose of sunshine. A slice of red bell pepper, he'd say, his voice bright and cheerful. It's like a burst of sunshine for your immune system. He'd add them to salads, their crisp texture and vibrant color, adding a refreshing contrast to the greens, or salt them in stir-fries, their sweetness enhancing the savory flavors. He'd even eat them raw, their crunchy texture and sweet tart flavor a satisfying snack. He'd credit his strong immune system, his resilience to illness, to these vibrant vegetables. It's about building a strong foundation, he'd say, his voice filled with conviction. So you can stay healthy and resilient. Arthur's approach wasn't about following a strict diet, but rather about embracing a lifestyle that celebrated whole, nourishing foods. He believed that by focusing on these 7 categories, he was giving his body the tools it needed to thrive, to regenerate, and to live a life filled with vitality. He'd often encourage others to start small, to incorporate 1 or 2 of these foods into their daily routine and gradually build from there. It's a journey, not a race, he'd say. And every step you take is a step towards a healthier, happier you. Let's step into Arthur's kitchen and savor the aromas and textures of his simple, nourishing recipes. He wasn't just sharing meals, he was sharing moments of mindful connection with food, a way to infuse vitality into every bite. Imagine Arthur preparing his vibrant berry smoothie. He'd start with a handful of ice, the clinking sound a refreshing prelude to the symphony of flavors to come. Then he'd add a generous cup of mixed berries, blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries, their colors swirling like a painter's palette. A splash of almond milk would follow, its creamy texture softening the tartness of the berries. A handful of spinach, for a touch of earthy green, would then go in, followed by a spoonful of chia seeds for added texture and omega-3s. The blender would whir to life, transforming the ingredients into a thick, velvety concoction. As he poured the smoothie into a glass, he'd hold it up to the light, admiring the deep, rich color. It's like capturing the essence of summer, he'd say, a soft smile gracing his lips. Each sip is a burst of antioxidants, a gentle wake-up call for your cells. He'd encourage you to experiment with different fruits and greens, to find your own perfect blend, to create a smoothie that not only nourished your body, but also delighted your senses. Then there was his pan-seared salmon, a dish that was both simple and elegant. He'd select a fresh salmon fillet, its vibrant pink flesh a testament to its quality. He'd season it with salt and pepper, then gently place it in a hot pan, the sizzling sound filling the kitchen with anticipation. As the salmon cooked, he'd squeeze fresh lemon juice over it, the citrus scent mingling with the rich, savory aroma. He'd then sprinkle it with fresh dill and parsley, their herbaceous notes adding a touch of freshness. As he served the salmon, he'd emphasize the importance of cooking with love, of infusing each dish with intention. It's about respecting the ingredients, he'd say, his voice filled with reverence, and creating a meal that nourishes both your body and your soul. He'd encourage you to try different herbs and spices, to discover your own culinary style, to make each meal a personal expression of care. His hearty mushroom and kale stew was a comforting, soul-warming dish, perfect for a cool evening. He'd start by sauteing onions and garlic in olive oil, their fragrant aroma filling the kitchen. Then, he'd add sliced mushrooms, their earthy scent mingling with the sweetness of the onions. He'd stir in chopped kale, its dark green leaves wilting slightly as they absorb the flavors. He'd then pour in vegetable broth, adding a dash of thyme and a bay leaf for depth. As the stew simmered, he'd emphasize the importance of using fresh, whole ingredients, of letting the natural flavors shine. It's about creating a dish that's both nourishing and satisfying, he'd say, his voice filled with warmth. He'd encourage you to experiment with different vegetables and herbs, to find your own favorite combination, to make each stew a comforting embrace. Arthur's kitchen wasn't just a place for cooking. It was a sanctuary of mindful nourishment, a space where he connected with the ingredients, with the process, and with himself. He'd encourage you to approach cooking with the same sense of wonder and appreciation, to see it as an opportunity to nourish your body and soul. It's about creating meals that are more than just food, he'd say, his eyes twinkling, their expressions of love, of care, of connection. He'd urge you to experiment with different flavors and textures, to find what you enjoy, and to make it a part of your daily routine, a ritual of self-care. Arthur's story is a testament to the power of simple, consistent choices. It's a reminder that even at 94, you can live a life filled with vitality and joy. It's a journey that's open to everyone, a path that leads to a healthier, happier you. So, what are you waiting for? Take a step today, incorporate one of these lifeline foods into your diet, and start your own journey towards a life filled with energy and well-being. And as you embark on this journey, remember Arthur's words. It's about giving your body the tools it needs to thrive, to regenerate, and to live a life filled with vitality. I encourage you to share this wisdom with your friends and family, to create a community of people who are committed to living their best lives. If you found this information valuable, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Let's embark on this journey together, supporting each other every step of the way. Your support means the world to us, and together, we can create a world where everyone has the opportunity to live a vibrant, fulfilling life.